We're going to be looking at some very interesting case stories of some particular icons, women in sports who we're going to be highlighting. But I'm not going to be doing this alone. I am joined by Damilola Akinlade, ADT, aka ADT, High Impact, very old OAP on 102.1 FM. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, AJ. Great.
How are you doing?
Great to be here.
So I'm feeling our green combo. Give me 5, guy. You didn't expect that one.
I didn't see it coming. But I mean, you guys have like a beautiful setting here.
Thank you very much.
I love the set.
I mean, how different is it to be here compared to the High Impact 2.1?
The lights, bro. The lights are all in my face.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, okay. So for those who don't know, for those who listen to High Impact 2.1 FM, our loyal listeners, this is actually the voice. The face to the voice of ADT. Wow. For those who don't know the face, here you go.
Thank you very much.
Is it so different?
I feel like I should pay for that intro.
I mean, you should.
I feel I should.
I mean, I will send you.
Write me an invoice.
Nah, no invoice, but I will send you as a now account over. all right. Today we're talking about women.
Yeah.
ADT. All right. So today we are actually discussing some very interesting women in sports. We've had a look at some very interesting facts. But before we get into it, what did you think about the FIFA Women's World Cup that just concluded?
I mean, it's one of the biggest World Cups, women World Cups in history. Recorded, had the highest attendance, for a women's World Cup. And I love the fact that FIFA tried to incorporate the fact that we could have, more than one host for the World Cup. Usually it would be one host, but I think they're looking at how they can, synergize different countries to bring, probably their own quota to make it grow. So we saw New Zealand and Australia host, the current World Cup, which it was pretty nice because, of course, they are not distant nations from themselves, and it was nice to see people come through. And leading up to the semi-final, the Australians beat the semi-finals, and you could see how the mammoth crowd of support that we got. Nigerians left different parts of the world to go and see Super Falcons at the World Cup as well. Fortunately, I'm happy that England did not win because, of course, they did a not so good one to Nigerians.
Well, actually, Lauren James.
Yeah, I'm happy that they did not win. Of course, Spain won. But I'm going to say, it has been a really, really eventful World Cup. I love the campaign. As far as I know her name and her game, that was the motto for this year's. Because usually, women's sports or women football has come to be sexualized. You talk about how people are watching, the beautiful ladies that are playing the football. Talk about Megan Rapinoe. They talk about the Australian care. They talk about these ladies are fine. These are fine. And well, at this time they laid a lot of emphasis on not just knowing her name and knowing her face, know her game. We saw a lot of display of some fun football at the World Cup this time around, and it was nice to see. At some point in time when I was watching the Nigerian Super Falcons and during the group stages when they played against Canada, played against Australia, I was like, wow, I'm watching football. It was not a case of women were playing. I was watching football.
Proper football.
I was watching football, and it was filled with a lot of the same technicalities you find in the male football. It was there. It was not devoid of anything. It was nice to watch, really. So I think it's a good one. Next one, of course, hosted by 3 countries. Let's see how FIFA will try to beat the record being set now. I think right now what this has done is it has put the spotlight on on the women football. How exactly it is not just what we see with it's just a bunch of ladies playing ball and what they really have got to offer. We saw a lot this time around, and it's nice that not just the fact that the footballing bodies were involved, but also the government of those countries were equally involved. Well, we had cases where the Nigerian continent had to travel down to Australia to go and see it, and other countries as well had to travel. That's why all this that happened of not being paid and being owed as always. But nonetheless, it was the fact that it was not just a World Cup that it was just the women players that were alone. It was everybody, the women players, spectators, fans, stakeholders as well as governments that were also involved in something. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, we know what we usually see when it comes to women sports or cup competitions, that it's usually within this context of it's a women World Cup. But this one just seemed like it's a World Cup. Actually,
it's
a
World
very,
Cup.
very
it's a World Cup.
entertaining.
I think at a point, the only time that it's like people thought that they were playing or we were watching women play was when, of course, Shola took off her shirt. I'm like, you are a lady!
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, it's part of the moment. The Germans
yeah.
call it Zeitgeist. So, I mean, it happens.
Exactly.
I mean, these are the things we live for. And these are the things that will actually make the World Cup a memorable one.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, taking a lead from what you're saying about how entertaining it was, I was reading that FIFA, you know, for the World 11, they're thinking of incorporating men and women
yes.
in that particular. So the World 11, for those who don't know, is, for instance, the best 11 players in the
At World Cup, yeah.
They're thinking of incorporating, because it's been predominantly a male-dominated list.
Actually, they do a World 11 for men and a World 11 for women, but most times the women they don't receive as much, as much light and much press and publicity as as the men. But I like the fact that gradually we're seeing a balance in gender for sports. It's gradually. It's not where it should be. But it's not where it used to be.
Right.
It's better than it was before.
Yeah, all right. Okay, the producers in my head, they're telling me to get into the case study. All right, so we are going to be we're going to be highlighting some very interesting women in sports. This is what we're doing on the show this morning. We are celebrating and discussing women in sports. Now, the first on our list is our own Tobi Amusan, a Nigerian making a difference. Now, Oluwatoyinola Ayomide Tobi Amusan is a Nigerian track and field athlete who specializes in the 100 meters hurdles and also competes as a sprinter. She is the current world, Commonwealth, and African champion in the 100-meter hurdles, as well as the meet record holder in those 3 competitions. Amusan became the first ever Nigerian world champion and world record holder in an athletics event when she won the 2022 World Championships 100 meters hurdles gold medal, setting the current world record of 12.12 seconds in the semi-final, followed by a 12.06 seconds in the final. She is also the current Diamond League champion in the 100 meters hurdles, having won the final in the 12.29 seconds. On the 16th of July 2023, Amusan clocked a new season best of 12.34 seconds in the 100-meter hurdles at the Selecia Diamond League meet. Amusan first faced suspension after being charged for whereabouts failures by the Athletics Integrity Unit. However, she was charged to compete just before the ongoing World Championships commenced. She was cleared last week by the Athletics Integrity Unit after fears had emerged that the sprint champion would not be cleared in time to defend her title at the championship in Budapest. Tobi Amusan won the second final with a time of 20.56 seconds to qualify for the final of the 100-meter hurdle at the ongoing World Athletics Champion in Budapest, which is her 3rd consecutive World Championship final. Now, okay, just to give an update to all of this, Tobi Amusan has actually lost her title, which was yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
She lost her title to Jamaican Daniel Williams, who has actually deposed her in the 100 meters hurdles, which is a shame, for us. But still, she's still,
she's still world record holder.
Exactly, she's still a world record holder.
It's quite sad, and I think we were having this conversation before we came live, and I said, I think I saw this coming. Talking about the suspension she had or she faced before. You get a suspension a month to a major league meet. It does something to your psyche, really. Yeah. And the battle to clear her name, because it was not just a spite to a game, it was also a spite to her name as well.
Actually.
Because a world record holder, you've broken 3 records. You broke the first one at Selecia Diamond League meets. You did that at Oregon as well, and at the Olympic as well. You did something really, really interesting. And and just a month to another meeting where you have to prove yourself, you are told that what you had done was probably due to was a question of your integrity. It does something to your psyche. And then the build up to the Diamond to the World Champions in Budapest. They have to send a psychologist to her. It's for her only, because it does something to your psyche.
Yeah.
And it sort of showed throughout the entirety of our races. The first one, the first hit she did, she won the heat, but the time was lagging. Even though the semi-final she won, it was 12.547. That's slow by Tobi Amusan's standards. Right? That's slow. Yeah. And of course, she got to the final. She was facing like guys that talking about Williams from Jamaica, who is literally and Harrison, Harrison, the former world champion as well. These guys are like more or less lionesses in the hurdles and also as well. So I saw it coming when I saw the news reviews are like, yeah, I felt that it was
considering everything that has happened, the build up towards that.
So I mean, taking a cue from what the sport minister said, he said, what, take a cue from all of this, all of it. Don't be depressed by the results, And he sent a memo to all the athletes, in Budapest right now. Take a cue from it. Don't learn from where your performance will be pride. You learn from the mistake and we go to the next one.
That's
and we do better.
That's a good one.
As you can see in the video, she started like a little bit slow.
Yeah.
It's not in Tobiloba Amuson's race strategy to start slow. She began on the back end. She had to really catch up, and it was just a few seconds, a few seconds ahead of the Jamaican there who was there. And the funny thing about the meets is this World Champions is the fact that for all the heats or the qualifyings, the major actors don't compete against themselves. So they put they put a strong person against not so strong persons on our own level.
Okay.
So but the final will be like the top 8 or 9 athletes that won in their various. So the final is like the strong of the strong or the best of the best, that meet at the final. Right, and it showed yesterday. She finished 6th in that race yesterday, and it's not a bad, but at the same time
for Toby
standard,
exactly,
it's not good.
But at the end of the day, sports, you lose some and you win some, and that is the beauty about some of the facts that we talk about sports this morning. We said sports builds character in women, it builds resilience, it builds grit. So what we can say to Toby Amuson is that this is just a
stumbling block.
It's just a stumbling
block.
Step
over it and move.
Exactly, step over it like you step over those hurdles. Exactly.
It's just a hurdle.
Don't leave me.
It's just a hurdle.
It's just a hurdle. I'm having fun with ADT this morning. All right, before we get to have so much fun, because I'm still going to beat you in games this morning.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Let's have a look at our next case study. Now, this particular personality, she's an American. Her story is one that I really, really love. It's an inspiring one. It's a very encouraging one for young athletes as well. Now, this person is Shakari Richardson. Now, Shakari Richardson is a champion made better. Shakari Richardson, is an American track and field sprinter who competes in the 100 meters and 200 meters. Richardson rose to fame in 2019 as a freshman at Louisiana State University, running 10.75 seconds to break the 100-meter collegiate record at the NCAA Division Championships. Now, this winning time made her one of 10 fastest women in the history at 19 years old. In April 2021, Richardson ran a new personal best of 10.72 seconds, becoming the 6th fastest woman of all time and the 4th fastest American woman in history. She's well known for her long nails and colorful hair on the field, and has stated that her style is inspired by that of Florence Griffith Joyner. When she qualified for the 2020 Summer Olympics after winning the women's 100-meter dash with 10.86 in the 2020 United States Olympic trials, she was drug tested, and it was reported that she had tested positive for cannabis use, invalidating her win and making her ineligible to compete in the 100-meter at the 2020 Summer Olympics. After successfully completing a counseling program, she accepted a 1-month period of ineligibility that began on June 28, 2021. Richardson was raised by her grandmother Betty Harp and an aunt in 2021, a week before her qualifying race for the 2020 Summer Olympics. Her biological mother died. Richardson knew nothing of her biological mother's passing until she was asked about it by a reporter. Richardson said she took marijuana in the state of Oregon, where it is legal, after learning about the death of her biological mother to cope with the pressure of qualifying for the Olympics while mourning the recent death of her biological mother. In July 2023, she became the U.S. national champion in the women's 100 meters at the 2023 USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, running 10.82 seconds. Richardson won gold in the 100 meters at the 2023 World Championships in Budapest. She has been repeating a mantra since returning to the track this season, which is, "I'm not back, I'm better. These last 3 years, I've shown you what I can do. It was just me that was standing in my way. Now I'm with myself," said Richardson. All right. Now, Richardson's story, as I said, very fascinating.
True.
Very, very motivating as well. I remember watching that particular press interview when her mother just died, and then they were asking her, and then she's like, sure, and then the reaction and all of that. It's a very painful thing. When you've just completed a competition,
yes.
and then you're finding out from a press that your mother has died. Such a sensitivity from the press at the time.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this?
Something similar also happened, for the Women's World Cup. One of the Spanish players also was playing the final, and after winning, they had to bring the news to her that her father died, during the match proceedings. Nonetheless,
So
nonetheless, for Shakari Richardson, I mean, it's a story of a system that works. Now, I'm talking about how it wasn't the world or the Athletics Integrity Union that said that she was doping. It was the American, doping agency that said that she was doping.
Their own.
Their own. That shows a system that works. And look at our growth, into the entire world from collegiate, from collegiate athletics, winning the NCAA, Division 1, to of course growing and growing and growing to become a world champion. And this is basically what happens. What we have in this part of the world is a case where where we don't monitor those talents, or we don't nurture those talents. And once it's time for major competitions, we go out there to get them. For example, we credit a lot of the wins that Tobi Amusan did, to a Nigerian route. But nonetheless, her training was not in Nigeria. She was outside the country in the UK, training back to back, for years. She was in the US, doing a training, meeting officials and to get trained. Even Esebrume too doesn't train in Nigeria.
Michelle Aluzie as well.
They're all out there. They're all out there, and it's quite sad. It's quite sad, Father. Look at how she grew from playing at Louisiana State University or running from university. That was a university for her. And there was a system that allowed athletes to showcase their talents. For example, we have the Noge Games in Nigeria. I don't see how people from the Noge Games transcend to be world champions or African champions. Nonetheless, it's like basically after the Noge Games, these guys disappear and we don't get to hear about them again. So I think a lot needs to be done. This lady's case is a case of a system that works, that monitors athletes from I mean, she was the fastest, or one of the fastest women since age of 19.
Yeah, 19.
That's a lot. It shows that how would they have monitored if they didn't have a system? How would they have known if they didn't have a system that monitors, growth of athletes from time? And again, another thing is always having things to look out for. She created a growth to Florence, to Florence Griffith, who was equally a world champion. She was the woman that set the world champion in 1988 for the 100 meters and 200 meters in the 1988 Olympics and world championships. So it's a case of who are you looking forward to? So these guys have a template to look out for. They have like American history. I think is replete with a lot of world champions. So and that can only be done via a system, and that's what we employ the African setting to always do. Create a system that allows transcendence, and it's not just with athletics in Nigeria. Same thing with football. You see guys that play on under 17, and after under 17 World Cup, maybe they win. We don't hear about them again, that's the end.
Yeah. Osimhen is actually very
one of the lucky ones. One of the lucky ones. That made it from under 17 down to the national team. But we don't have a lot of those stories in Nigerian sport, and it's quite sad.
Yeah. So we in Nigeria, if we have a better system, actually, to contextualizing this to women in sports, we'll actually be able to actually canonize the women who are representing and doing great things for this country. Shakari Richardson story is one of resilience, is one of grace, and it also goes to show that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, but where you are going. And where we're going to now, I'm going to beat you in game. All right, as I said, Edith and I are about to have some fun. It's Friday. If you watch Tea or Coffee, you know that every Friday we have fun. We play games, and Adi usually wins. So good. So for today, we're going to be.
I like this energy.
You like the energy.
I like this.
To be honest, you're better at this sports thing than I am. But I have to brag.
Okay.
You can't come to my show and I'll be doing
games. Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. Nice one. All right, so the game we're playing, we're going to be guessing the women in sports. So I'm guessing an image is going to pop up on the screen to our right, and then we have to guess who it is. So the producers have come to drop some pieces of paper here.
All right.
So you pick up the paper, you read out the number, and then the number of the question pops up on the screen.
Wow.
So I'll allow you go first.
No, you go first, actually. You're the host.
No.
Those are the most.
They are yourself. All right, so my number is 9. Number 9.
Ooh.
Number 9. This is for me. I know this. What? Okay. So number 9, she's an American, Shakari Richardson. We just spoke about her. Who won the 100 meters? She's American track and field sprinter who won the 100 meters world title at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest. Shakari Richardson. My final answer. That's my final answer.
Correct.
Woo! Correct. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So that's 1-0.
Pressure is getting worse.
Yeah. All right, you're next.
All right, let's go. The Lord. Number one.
Number one. Question number one. Is this one?
I guess so.
Okay. A Japanese tennis player who is the first Asian player to ascend to the top of the Women's Tennis Association.
Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka. Is that correct? Naomi Osaka, 1-1. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, last one. Last one. Yeah, let's go.
Battle line has been drawn.
Battle line has been drawn. Yeah. All right, I'm picking my next one now. Number 8. Number 8 is mine. We have to speed up. We're running out of time. Number 8. Hey, female basketballer, America. She's a 2-time National Basketball Player of the Year and is well known on the court due to her constantly color-changing braids. I don't know who this is. Let me not even cap. I don't know at all. Aliyah Boston. Do you know who this is?
Yeah.
Right.
I had a feeling.
Okay, Aliyah Boston. I don't know. So yeah, we're still on 1-1. All right, pick your number. We need to speed up.
Wow.
The producer say we're running out of time.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Please bring this on.
Number 5.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
Why do I feel like?
An Indian who became the first female badminton player to be ranked number 1 in the world. Female badminton player.
Nah.
Nah,
it's not coming.
Nah. Saina Nehwal. Okay.
Okay.
Saina Nehwal. I'm learning on the show this morning.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Bringing this on.
All right. Next question for me.
We have to get a winner, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Ooh.
Number 12. Number 12 is mine. Number 12. Oh, voila.
I think I know who this is. I think I have an idea.
She's the first ever female Jamaican sprinter and the second sprinter after Usain Bolt to win the sprint duffel at I don't know. I don't know. Is it Williams?
No, Fraser Price.
Is it? No.
Ellen
Thompson Hera. All right. Ellen Thompson Hera. Okay.
All right, let's go next.
You missed it.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did. With all my chest.
It's still 1-1,
Number
by the
4.
way. Number 4. I know this one already. I know this is. I didn't. You didn't even give me a clue.
Mitchell Alozie.
A Nigerian American footballer who is currently a Super Falcons defender. Yes, Michelle Alozie. Yes, correct.
Dr. Alozie, please.
Dr. Alozie.
Some respect on it.
All right, it's down to 1. God, all right, number 2. Let's go. Number 2. Hey, yeah, Serena Williams. That looks like Serena Williams.
It does.
One of the greatest. Serena Williams,
wow.
One of the greatest tennis players. This is the last one that we have to do, apparently. She retired in September 2022.
So we call it tie.
So we call it a tie. So it's actually a tie. Wow. You tried.
You made yourself proud.